black in an ultraviolet patent leather. The arch cookie for support and comfort makes the shoe and you look good longer.
All we needed to do was deliver at this point. It was really disappointing because I felt like I had a winner all the way up to the runway show. Unless the women sent naked men out on stage or did something completely stupid, we've absolutely blown this task.
Stephanie, why did you choose Brandy to be your MC?
Because she represents the definition of the brand, which was savvy, sexy, attractive, contemporary, or metropolitan American.
Did you think she did a good job?
She did a fabulous job.
Kelly, what did you think of Brandy as the MC?
I thought she did an outstanding job.
Brandy, have you MC'd before?
No.
You've never done it before?
I haven't, but I was excited about the task and did the best that I could.
You know, it's amazing. I think you were fantastic.
Thank you. That's a really big compliment, and I really do appreciate it.
Okay. Catherine, do you have any questions?
Ladies, I do have a question about your choice in the models and their wardrobes.
Okay.
There was one model in particular who had very scabby legs. That was not very attractive to watch.
I agree with that 100%. This guy looked like he was in a fight when he was wearing shorts, right?
Yes, he was. I mean, why did you choose him for that outfit?
Do you know who we're talking about?
No, I do not. Kelly and Poppy cast the models.
Yeah, I don't know which model you're referring to.
How could you not know? I mean, he had scabs all over the place.
Everywhere.
Mr. Trump, I did ask Kelly, I said, Kelly, is that what he's wearing? And she goes, oh yeah, that's what he's wearing. And I was like, okay. And this was
Why? Because you saw the same thing that I did.
Because he came down the runway and I was like, oh, that just doesn't look right. But then everybody
Were you grossed out?
I didn't think that he should be wearing it with the
He should not have been wearing shorts.
But at the same time...
To that point, Lisa, I didn't know. I mean, if you had followed that with his legs were scabbed, then I would have at least tried to fix it.
Yeah, but you should have seen that, Kelly.
I did miss the scab.
And I mean, it was a gross situation.
I did miss the scab. Yeah, it was very obvious from the front row. I think a number of people commented on that.
Whose idea was it to have the men come out at the very end in their underwear? Although a bold statement, it's a huge risk.
I know that in life and in this task, we need to take risks. I don't want to be good, I want to be great. So I knew we had to push it, and we were very classy. They were really black shorts over their undergarments.
Well, they weren't shorts.
Well, they were over their undergarments.
They were not shorts.
They were boxers. When you're dealing with a male model and shoes, it's hard because they're not in skirts and dresses. So the pant covers the shoe.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be able to feature the shoe in the last finale.
Well, the fact is, I think you've done an amazing job. I thought your choice of the model was disappointing, but I really did think you did a great job. And I've never done this before, ever. But your team so blew away the men that I don't even want to waste a lot of time with you. I'm going to ask you to go back to your suite, enjoy yourself. You are going to be meeting Stephanie with Michael Rupp from Rockport.
Wonderful.
He's going to give you some advice. He's an amazing guy, the CEO and president.
Thank you.
And I think you're going to learn a lot. But you really did a fantastic job. And again, I've never done this, but just get out of here. You were fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Blew them out of the water.
First time ever.
Men, you were terrible. Stay here. Somebody's going to be fired. I can tell you it wasn't even close. Wade, what was that mess all about? That was a total mess.
It was a total mess, and I was embarrassed, and I owe you an apology.
Oh, you sort of know it.
I knew this was coming. I was embarrassed, and I owe you a complete
But how do you
and
pick
Rockport apology.
Gene, who obviously has never done this before, talking about crap that nobody wants to hear? Whose idea was this?
You know, Gene did say he had some experience in public speaking and emceeing.
Well, do you think he did?
I've got to believe a guy when he tells me that.
Well,
Yeah.
but every other word was like mispronounced or.
I don't
terrible.
disagree. I
mean, I watched Brandy, who was so professional. Is that a correct statement, Catherine? I mean, she was so good. It was incredible.
She was a pro.
I'd use her right now. In fact, if I'm going to do something, I think I'm going to use her.
See, Brandy?
Wow, Brandy.
I wish I would have seen that.
Oh my God.
You were polished, girl.
Brandy was unbelievable.
Well, and I think throughout, my time meeting Gene has carried himself well. Gene's got a good voice.
I think he carries himself well.
He's got
but
a
he
good voice.
didn't carry himself well with respect to being an MC. First of all, Gene, you walk in with this big computer. Why not take a piece of paper? See this? I have a lot of notes on this piece of paper. I put it in front of me.
Well, there was
I see what's going on. I look down everywhere. You walk in with this big blobby computer. You couldn't even see half of your body. And you start reading off a computer. And you were having a hard time reading, obviously, because every other word was mispronounced. And I don't know what the hell happened.
Well, that wasn't our plan.
And by the way, David wasn't great. But Gene was terrible. You talked about every aspect of these shoes.
Right.
The only thing you didn't talk about was how beautiful they are.
Right.
It's technologically this, it's
Right.
odorless, it's every damn shoe. I don't want to hear about odorless, I want to hear that they're beautiful.
I totally agree. But at the last minute, at D-Day, I did not have the description that I wanted. So I had
Was
to
Wade a terrible project manager?
No, Wade was actually a good project
Oh, he
manager.
did great. He picked two guys that shouldn't have been chosen. You should have picked Stewart and Anand. They're smoother guys. They would have made a nice presentation. I sure as hell don't see David doing it.
Yeah.
And frankly, in retrospect, I thought Gene he couldn't have been worse.
David and Gene said they had MC experience, and I had to rely upon that.
Don't you test him? I mean, you test him.
Gene
say,
carries-
Gene, speak.
Then
Then
Gene
you
is,
say, Anand, speak. And you say, Stewart, speak. Let me ask you this question. Why didn't you pick Stewart? Why didn't you pick Anand?
Stuart and Anand work well together. Stuart and Anand are very stylish. I had confidence that they would go out and pick out a good wardrobe for the show. Gene's got a very nice voice, as you can hear and hear. I had
He's got a
confidence
nice
in Gene.
voice. I don't know if he has a nice voice. He
I think-
couldn't read. He couldn't read. He's
Unfortunately,
looking at his computer and he's, well, let's see. This is really great. This is the worst job I've ever seen as an MC. Catherine, let me ask you, you followed the team. What did you think?
What really struck me while I was there watching is that it sounded horrible right there and then. Why didn't anybody say, stop, we've got to rethink this? Clint, wait, you were both there listening. What did you think?
I came out on stage and said that this is not what we need to be doing.
And what did you see wrong? Did you see Gene as the wrong guy?
Well, no, what had happened was Gene didn't have the paperwork he needed in time for the rehearsal.
How much paperwork do you need to talk about a pair of shoes, right? 90% of this task is your MC.
I understand, and he let me down and he let the team down.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have known that if you checked it? Do you think he would have been fabulous if, as an example, in a rehearsal, Clint, do you think in a rehearsal he would have been fabulous and blown your socks off?
No, sir. There was no rehearsal by Gene.
Was there a rehearsal, Wade?
There was not a rehearsal.
Why? How can you not
Because
rehearse?
I checked in on Gene just about every hour on the hour. I said,
Did you
Gene,
check to see whether or not he could perform?
Gene, did I ask you throughout the day that you
No. I don't want to hear about asking. Did you check and see whether or not he could perform?
Gene did not perform to me, no. But I can tell you
Excuse
this.
me. You didn't know whether or not he could perform
I-
until you saw him make a total ass of himself up on the stage.
But I felt confident in Gene.
Excuse me. You didn't know whether or not he could perform.
He told me he could, and I felt confident in Gene because I've known Gene now for several weeks, and I've heard Gene speak, and Gene is a very good
That
speaker.
has nothing to